guys, this is something I have not done in a long time and something I don't want to do because I'm quite ashamed of my kitchen. I don't really want to like have Nassim pan too far up or too far down because both ways you're gonna see some weird stuff, aka my little hoarding corner on top of my fridge, or perhaps my super broken oven that I should have fixed before this and I didn't. Also, this door just doesn't close. So welcome to my house. Hi, my name is Jessie. Also, my refrigerator light is out. Don't go too far in there. There's a lot of nasty crap in there, but there is wine, so things are looking up. Today, well, first let me get some wine and then I'll talk. Today, we are going to be filming a video that I have been asked for so long to film. Basically, I make a vegan lasagna, and here's the upfront truth, okay? It's not my recipe. I totally stole this recipe from someone called Revolution in Bloom. I did make it my own. It's not the exact recipe that Revolution in Bloom came up with, but she came up with the like foundation of it. So I am gonna link her recipe down below because it is fantastic on its own how she does it, but I'm gonna write out below my ingredients and what I use to make the lasagna because I feel like it is perfect. Kathleen, if you guys don't know, Kathleen Lights here on YouTube, I have made this lasagna for her like maybe 5 times. No, maybe not that much, like 4 times. And she always tweets about it or puts it on her Instagram story. So a lot of people have come to my channel or my social medias asking me for the recipe. And even when I tweeted out Revolution in Blooms, I know that it's not the same exact recipe. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cook with you. I bet a lot of people didn't even think I could cook. Now I'm thinking about that. People probably thought like, oh my God, it's Jessie. She doesn't know how to do anything. But I do. I'll have you know. I do know how to cook. I cook every day. I love to cook. It is my passion. I am vegan, so this lasagna is vegan. But let me tell you something. I have had like 3 or 4 non-vegans who have tried this say this is the best lasagna they've ever had, period. So honestly, if you are vegan or even if you're not, try this out. It's amazing. This is... how do I explain this? So what had happened here is this is not actually dirty. Like I cleaned this surface, but the whole stove broke. I will insert a picture here. I did take a picture. And before the maintenance people put it back on, they didn't clean it. So now it's just dirty on the inside and there's no way to reach it. I know what you guys are thinking. Hey, I thought you were a YouTuber. I thought you had a lot of money. Well, you thought wrong. I mean, okay, here's the thing. We didn't do a lot of research before moving into this apartment. We lived with my mom before this. And you know, I'm married, I have a kid, I wanted to live on my own. And this is the first apartment I looked at. And from the surface, like from just walking in, it looked okay. And literally everything has broken apart. The dryer has electrocuted like across the kitchen, like a bolt of electricity flew across the kitchen. What is that? Everything is broken. The oven has broken. Our roof leaked in the bathroom. I thought the top bathroom was gonna come in on us. Our kitchen door for our sink is broken. I mean, literally every appliance is broken. So I can't wait to get out of here. But anyway, that being said, this video is sponsored. Thank God. I am partnering with Lost Island's Blast Adventure. If you guys do not know this game, hold on, let me show you. Well, you guys can't really see right now, so it's pointless for me to show you my phone. I will just insert footage on the screen. But basically, this game is super addictive. So it's a lot of puzzle games, but it's not just playing puzzles, which is fun on its own. From beating the puzzles, you get stars, and with those stars, you can do a lot of things on your island, like repair certain things, make it more beautiful, buy things to decorate it, and it's just so addicting. I get so attached to things like this. I feel like it's my island. I actually own an island, although in reality, I just live here. This is my island, this is my pool, this is my little bar area, and basically this looked a lot worse before I came and bought the island, okay? Your girl has been remodeling. Well, that still needs to be fixed. Okay, don't look at that. This is definitely my go-to game, like when I want some me time, when Noah's asleep or whatever, I just go to my room, I lay down, and I play this. Another amazing part of partnering with Lost Island Blast Adventures is they're actually giving away an Apple Watch to the viewer who gets to the highest level. So if you're interested in possibly winning an Apple Watch, click the link in the description, download the game, and also in the description I will provide everything you need to know about entering to win the Apple Watch. But yeah, it is totally free. It's in every App Store, Play Store available, so download it down below. Okay, let's get on with the video. I have been literally, this is not a joke, ever since I can remember, every time I cook, I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to, I like mumble to myself as if I'm on a cooking show, and I feel like this is like my shot. Like this is my submission to the Food Network. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I swear I would literally mumble to myself like, okay, now we're gonna cut the chives and you make sure you want them in small pieces. And my mom's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what? But seriously, I have been doing that since forever, and now I just feel like it's my shot. So let's do this. Okay, so you're gonna need a lot of stuff. So you want to put a pot of water to boil, preferably a pot that you dropped on the floor and is now irreparably dented. That would be best. So you're gonna need 2 lasagna noodle boxes, but not yet because the water's not even close to boiling because your stove sucks. Moving on. So you're gonna need raw cashews for this recipe, specifically 1.5 cups. Oh crap. Okay, this recipe is hectic, okay? Seriously, a lot of things go on at once and it stresses me out, but it's so worth it. So you're gonna need to put 1/2 cup of raw cashews, not toasted cashews. That will taste horrendous. But 1/2 cup of, I dropped them. And what you're gonna wanna do is boil some water. So I'm just gonna boil some water in a tea kettle. And you're gonna put 1/2 cup of cashews to like soak in boiling water. If that makes sense, like you pour boiling water in a bowl and you let it soak for 15 minutes. This is really important because even if you have a high-powered blender, this portion of the cashews is not gonna go in a high-powered blender. So just pay attention, just do it, okay? Oh my gosh, is it hot in here? So you're gonna get a cup of cashews and you're gonna put it in a high-powered blender. If you don't have one of these, sorry. I mean, I guess you could do it in a regular blender. I don't know, okay? And then you want to get 3 cups of water. You're not supposed to get it from the sink, by the way. 1 cup of cashews to 3 cups of water. And you're just gonna blend that until it's super creamy and there's no like chunks of cashew in it. That's like a rhythm. I am so proud of this Vitamix. I literally waited like 5 years to get a Vitamix and now I just want to show everyone that I have a Vitamix. I bought it used, but it still counts. So what you want to do is get this mixture and pour it into like a little soup pot or what is that? You just want to pour it into a little pot and rinse the blender off because you're going to need it one more time throughout this process. I need more wine. So with the pot of the cashew milk, which is essentially what it is, like when you put cashews with water, it becomes a cashew milk if you get the consistency right. So with that, I'm going to put 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast. I usually end up adding more. So whatever I feel the measurements are going to be down below if you want like a more exact way to make this recipe. So I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder. I'm gonna put, for now, 2 teaspoons of garlic, and then I need to try it because this is actually the cheese in the lasagna. So it's actually a white sauce that when poured in certain layers, it makes it taste cheesy without giving it that funky flavor of vegan cheese. A lot of vegans were reaching out to me asking me how I made a lasagna without the cheese tasting weird, because vegan cheese, when you layer it on that much, like you're gonna get weird flavors. Like you can have a little bit of vegan cheese and get away with it, but a whole lasagna, no honey. This is a very important ingredient. I have posted about it on my Instagram. This is not listed in the Revolution in Bloom recipe, but this is lactic acid. This is a byproduct of culturing cheese, I think. I failed science. Is that science? Okay. I'm gonna shut up. Basically, something that gives a lot of sauces a very tart, like mouth feel of cheese. So when you have a sauce that you're like, man, I wish it just tasted a little bit more cheesy or a little bit more sour, like how cheese tastes. Like for instance, when I make my sour cream, I use this. This just gives it that tartness, but you have to be very careful because this, like too much of this just makes it taste horrendous. So I'm gonna go in with 1/2 teaspoon and then see how that goes. Because I eyeball everything, so I'm really not sure how much is supposed to go where. You just wanna grab a whisk and whisk that together. Oh no, I need to put salt in it. I forgot salt. I'm gonna put in 1/2 teaspoon of salt and see how this tastes, and I will let you know if I add anything else. You don't want to put this at too high of heat. Oh man, I really feel like Martha Stewart now, but you don't, because the bottom of it will burn and create like a layer and kind of just waste your sauce. There's no reason for the bottom to burn. It needs more lactic acid, so I'm gonna put another 1/2 teaspoon of lactic acid, and it needs more salt, and then I'm gonna taste it again and see what else it needs. I'm gonna put another 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I've never wanted to post a recipe because I'm always scared someone's gonna try it and hate it. Like I've tried so many recipes and hated it, and I just don't wanna be that bitch. Once it gets to this point, once you put in the ingredients, taste it yourself, add whatever you feel you need. If you don't have lactic acid, you could substitute it for lemon, but I feel like lactic acid is way better than lemon. So you just wanna let the sauce like bubble up and get kind of thick. Like right now it's a little bit thick. I do want it like thicker than that. So the water's boiling. Oh my God, so many things are happening. I always use 20 lasagna pieces exactly. I count them out and that's what I use. I don't make any extras. If you want for good measure, you can throw in 21 in case one gets messed up. Maybe it gets like burnt at the bottom or something. But you got 20 noodles. This is because I do 4 layers of 5 noodles. I'll show you how I layer them. By the way, this sauce is done. As soon as the sauce is done, take it off the heat so it doesn't get burnt. Don't get the oven ready noodles. Those are like whack. Try your best to get lasagna noodles. It takes no effort really to cook them. All you have to do is just put them in, and as soon as it starts cooking, I push it down as much as I possibly can to get it all evenly in the water. And as soon as it's all submerged in the water, I put the timer for 5 minutes, and that's usually how long I cook my noodles, but every brand is different. Okay, so I set my timer for 5 minutes, and then I am going to cook the ground beef for the lasagna. Even if you're vegan and you don't like mock meats, try this in the lasagna. You really, like, it doesn't make a huge difference. Like, you can't really taste like, oh my God, there's meat in here, but it just adds like a lot of substance to the lasagna. You see, I know what I'm talking about. I know words. This to me is the best brand, Gardein beefless ground. The problem with this is you need to add water when you're cooking it. A lot of people don't add water and then they complain it's like too dry, but you need to add water when you're cooking it or else it's gonna be like really just dry and flaky and nasty. But this is the best beefless ground. I have tried them all, okay? You're not gonna need the whole pack, but I don't know why I do that. Every time I use a whole pack. Very wasteful. You could put the whole pack if you want, if you like really like beefy things. Okay, so what I do is, again, tap water. Shouldn't do that. You should use purified water. I put a little bit instead of oil. I let that sit there. It's on like medium heat, maybe like medium high-ish. And all you're gonna add to this is Italian seasoning. You're gonna wanna put, I forgot I'm supposed to be measuring things. I literally put 3 teaspoons of that. You have to remember this is going in your lasagna, so even if everything has like a strong flavor, when it's in the lasagna, it's gonna taste bomb. And probably like a teaspoon of sea salt, or 3/4 a teaspoon of sea salt. If you don't like salt, I don't know what to tell you. I do cook with quite a bit of salt. I like things to taste delicious. Just mixing my noodles around a tiny bit so that they don't get like super burnt at the bottom or anything. But these have 2 more minutes and I can already tell you it's gonna need more. You have to like gauge. You don't want your noodles to be not cooked, but you want them to be like 3/4 of the way there at least. So you have to kind of like eyeball it. I put it for 5 minutes, but sometimes it's not enough and I have to put it for more. Sometimes I put it for less. Like you really have to like eyeball your noodles. By the way, I forgot to mention, preheat your oven to 375 because that's how much you're gonna cook the lasagna at. But right now I am just sauteing the meat in the water. Once the meat is heated through, then it's done, which is the amazing thing about vegan meat. It's just already cooked. You could even eat it it's frozen, so you don't want to do that. It's very simple steps. That's what I found with this lasagna. It's not complicated. It's just a lot of little things that add up to a big thing that is delicious and everybody's gonna love it. So you should just do it. Okay, so for the noodles, you're gonna have to do kind of a complicated situation. So I usually get a baking sheet and then I line that with parchment paper. And so basically the idea is that you line up 5 noodles on the parchment paper, then you put parchment paper on top of that and then keep lining up the noodles so that your noodles don't stick together while you're waiting to assemble the lasagna. Genius. Revolution and Bloom came up with that. So I'm gonna do that and then I'll be right back because there's a lot happening and I'm very stressed out. By the way, you want to rinse off your noodles with cold water so that it stops them from cooking, because if they're hot, they'll keep cooking. Okay, so this is what it should look like. So I basically do 5 noodles and then I just layer the parchment paper, and there should be 4 layers of that. So I'm gonna set this aside until I'm ready for it. I know it seems really annoying to do, like why would I do that? I could just leave the noodles inside of the colander and the strainer or whatever you wanna call it. But I promise you it's super important to do. It makes the noodles straight and ready for assembly. So just do it. So now I'm gonna strain these cashews. Oh, son of a biatch. So I just have a little Ninja blender. This is like a little food processor or whatever. What we're actually gonna be making is a part of the ricotta cheese. So every lasagna needs a ricotta cheese, okay? Even vegan lasagna. So I am making a tofu ricotta. So I'm gonna grab these cashews and put them in the food processor, which is why we needed to soak them, because the blender probably would have done the job, but when you're putting it in a food processor, it can't really blend the cashews very well if you don't soak them for at least 10-15 minutes. This next part is what I added to the recipe. So she does not add this, but I add almost an entire package of Follow Your Heart Parmesan vegan cheese. This definitely takes it up about, I would say like 10 notches. Like, it makes the lasagna quite a bit better in my opinion. Not that her recipe is bad in any way, it's amazing on its own, but I just love things really cheesy, really flavorful. So I add almost an entire package of Parmesan cheese, which I know sounds crazy, but it's a huge lasagna and you're probably gonna eat only a slice of it, so you're probably only getting a tiny bit of this. Let's see.
The whole package.
Yeah. Trying to be like, maybe not the whole thing, but the whole thing. In her directions, I can remember it by heart. So basically she orders like 1/4 a cup of chopped basil, but I always just eyeball it and put a few leaves on top of the cheese. Honestly, with a whole lasagna, you're not gonna go overboard on the basil, so just put as much as you want. I put probably about 1/4 a cup of basil on top. So I'm just gonna process this until it becomes like a fine blended situation. I don't know how to describe things. I am going to put this mixture into a bowl. So you're gonna need 1.5 blocks of extra firm tofu. You're gonna need to strain it and you're gonna need to pat it dry, and then we're gonna put that back into the high power blender. And for those of you that do not like tofu, I promise you that this does not taste like tofu when it's in the lasagna. Like, there's no part of anybody when they ask me like, oh, what's the ricotta made out of, and I say tofu, they're like, what? So don't be scared of tofu, okay? And it's got lots of protein. I'm just going to blend this until it gets, I mean, it takes 2 seconds, you'll see. Oh my god, it was too high. Put it on a low setting. Vitamix is very powerful. This is what you're left with, this kind of consistency that on its own looks like ricotta, but tastes horrendous. So we need to mix it with the mixture that we just made, as well as some other things to make it taste really, really good. But texture and look-wise, it looks just like ricotta. We want to add 1/4 a cup of nutritional yeast. I'm just gonna eyeball it, but that's the amount you need to put. Then you need to put about 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. I'm like so over measuring right now. And then about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then you just want to mix that really well. ASMR, oh my god, I'm making a freaking mess. The reality is I destroy my kitchen every single time I cook. This is what it should look like. We're gonna set that aside. We're ready to assemble. Oh my gosh, finally.
As you can see, I'm mixing the ricotta cheese.
Then what?
Then taste a little bit of it.
Ew. Okay guys, so hello, I'm right here. I'm basically just gonna show you how I assemble it and then kind of fast forward after I explain what I'm doing. Just to save time, I use Publix brand marinara sauce. If you live somewhere where you can get this, I like this the best. I feel like it has like chunks of tomatoes, and in the lasagna it's pretty good. And it's also super cheap. It's 2 for $5. You're welcome. You're gonna need 2 cans of marinara sauce or your favorite pasta sauce or whatever. And basically you want to line the bottom of the pan with marinara sauce. You want it enough to coat the bottom, but not like a river. So like this is about right. You just want a thin layer, and then you're gonna start applying your noodles. Applying. Is this a makeup tutorial? I do 4 lengthwise, and then 1 I kind of cut off the end of it or rip it off or whatever, and then that's the structure. Then you plop on some ricotta cheese. There's no like exact amount in my opinion. Just put as much as you want, but not too much. You don't want to go crazy, but make sure your hands are clean and use the rubber spatula and your hands to kind of spread out the layer of ricotta cheese. Okay, so for this layer, I'm not gonna put any meat. I'm actually going to use the white sauce that we made, and I'm going to put a little bit of that, kind of like a zigzag formation, not too much, and I'm gonna spread that out with the same spatula. If you really wanna kick this up a notch, you can sprinkle some garlic salt. I am actually gonna do that right now. You do not by any means have to do this, but I'm gonna do this. Especially if you have like non-vegan friends coming over, just like kick it up a notch. Add more salt, always. And then now I am just going to put a very small layer of red sauce over the white sauce, just to make sure that the noodles are coated in sauce, because if not, they won't finish cooking in the oven. So now I'm going in with the second layer of noodles, and again with the ricotta cheese. Okay, so after this layer of ricotta cheese, I'm going to put in the ground beef, and I just kind of grab a spoon and sprinkle that in. This is really up to you how much you want to add. We are putting 2 layers of beef, so you know, however much you want is fine with me. I don't care. And then I'm gonna go back in with the white sauce. You want to spread it out so that you have enough white sauce for another layer and also the top. So don't be using too much or else you won't have enough at the end, which is not good because it's the main cheese on top of the lasagna. So Next layer of noodles. This is honestly a labor of love, okay? This is not super easy. This is definitely for like a date night or something special, or if you're like me and just like to cook really complicated things sometimes. Ricotta cheese again. Okay, so for this last layer, you're not gonna put any ricotta cheese. You're just gonna go straight on it with the marinara sauce. Pretty much just finish up your bottle of marinara sauce. And then you are going to put the rest of the white sauce, because this is the cheese, and this is what's gonna make it look like there is cheese on top of the lasagna. And then with your rubber spatula, just kind of like spread it all over the top. And once it's baked, it really does look like a cheesy lasagna, and it tastes like it too. This is finally ready to go in the oven, thank God. I'm gonna put it in my oven at 375 for 45 minutes. No problem, I got this. At least it stays down. One time it wouldn't stay down, it kept going back up. It was horrendous. See you later when it's done. All right guys, I am back. This is my brother Joey. For those of you who have been on my channel, stop talking! For those of you that, stop talking. For those of you that don't know, this is my brother Joey. He's been on my channel a few times. My brother's also vegan, hence his vegan shirt right now. He came at the right time. He had to put no effort and he gets to eat lasagna. This is what it looks like. I'm just gonna cut into it and we're gonna do a little taste test.
I'm being totally frank here. I think it looks a little bit softer than you would expect the lasagna to look when you're cutting into it.
Are you gonna critique me right now? I spent the last like hour making this.
However, I'm looking forward to the taste and I'm pretty sure it'll come through in that.
You know what? This is not chopped, bitch. Oops, only one clean fork.
Oh well, I'll just use the good old shake ball or perhaps a measuring cup.
Okay, you want to get a layer with everything on it.
Oh, okay, I was just gonna go for the little crispy edges. Why am I being so mean? I'm sorry, sister. Nasim, how about I feed you instead?
No.
We get this on camera. Here we go.
What is this? This is weird. Girls, this isn't a mukbang.
Homophobe.
Okay. Okay. Ready?
It looks a little hot.
Just eat it. It is really good.
Okay.
You love my lasagna. He's being so mean right now.
No. I'm trying to be impartial. I like it. Definitely a good amount of like ricotta taste to it, which I really appreciate. It's like, it tastes cheesy.
Okay, Joy, honestly, it didn't need to go this far. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to Lost Island Blast Adventures for sponsoring this video. And I will see you guys next time. Bye. That was weird. Okay.